Mic's on. Let's see. Okay, so now it is recording.
Okay.
Okay.
Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the Herbal Cottage, Foods That Heal. This is our first episode, and we're happy to have you here. If you're watching this as a recording, well, we're glad that you were able to see this. I hope it'll be informative and interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and every meeting, we're going to start off with restating our goals for our school community. All right, and so it's our hope that we can help our members reduce pain, inflammation, using herbs, foods, ferments, fibers, and functional movement. In a world of so much information, we want to provide some clarity and help you get to the underlying cause of inflammation. 3, we want to help you restore your immune system by restoring your gut microbiome. And lastly, we want to provide a supportive community and a platform where we can talk amongst each other and offer each other support. All right, thank you. All right, Cindy's here.
Welcome, Cindy, and thank you for showing up on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear us? All right, Felicia, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
You missed my ho, 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 but not much else.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Felicia, how's your back feeling? A little better?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. I don't know what you did, but it worked.
Oh, Helen.
Yes, thank you.
Today's topic is foods that heal, and I wanted to couch this in a concept by can you pronounce her name?
Yeah, so we're sharing a story about two, I guess another college students, but when they were in high school, Kelsey Johnson and Nakia Jackson.
Okay, well, these two girls from West Virginia, these two girls were giving a project in high school to see if they could solve an unsolvable math problem. And that unsolvable math problem was called the angle of triple section. And there was
trisection.
Yeah, angle trisection. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, this problem has been around since ancient Greece, and there were famous mathematicians that wrote papers on how come or proof that this was not a solvable problem. And so these two girls set aside time and started to strategize on how to resolve this math problem. And they were able to successfully solve this unsolvable math problems. They were able to do what mathematicians throughout history have not been able to do. And it's quite remarkable. And I bring this up to you because I love stories where it seems impossible. But yet the possibility is it exists once we set our mind to how we're going to overcome this problem, and do we have a strategy to overcome this problem? And I think this holds true with many people that have health issues. I think that this is especially true with people that have rheumatoid arthritis and go to professionals and ask for advice, and they're given medicines that they are expected to take throughout their lives. And they are not really presented with this idea of, yes, can you, 1, overcome this illness? And 2, what is your strategy? How are you going to approach this problem? And do you think that you could overcome it by working on it? And so with discipline, with a strategy, with consistency, then we believe that it's possible to overcome rheumatoid arthritis, other rheumatoid issues, other autoimmune disease. We believe strongly that the autoimmune disease is tied to misfiring of the immune system based on a degradation of the co-evolutionary life that took form as we have evolved. That is the microbiome. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about how come food is responsible for the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so that's really how I'm couching this. It is possible. You just need to make up your mind, and that's what this this program is about, is just a practical solution to move forward to solve this problem. The impossible is possible once you accept that it is. And so anybody watching this, I wanted to tell you, I want to encourage you that we can get well, and that's what we're going to do. All right, so the second thing is, now as food is medicine, I want to kind of go back and talk a little bit about how people perceive food. And I want to let everybody understand that we do know that there's an emotional element to food. It's huge. It's cultural. It is your family's tradition. It is comforting. And it's one of the more difficult things to change, in someone's life. That's why diets usually don't work, because it's a hard thing to change what you eat, the way you eat, and your lifestyle. However, the foods that we eat today are not what your grandparents ate. And over time, things have changed. Life has gotten much faster, and we have moved towards a food production system that is on an industrial scale, and we have gone to more convenient foods. Even if you know I'm going to try to eat healthy and you're still eating out, then you have already made certain changes to fit this lifestyle, and it needs to be examined. One of the things that you want to say, add anything? No? Okay. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is how food is produced. So if it's not organic, and we're talking about rice, wheat, grains like soybeans and even corn, then industrial farming likes to spray it. In fact, millions of pounds of glyphosate are sprayed on commercial crops to keep weeds down. And so how come a weed killer that kills almost everything doesn't kill the crops? And the way bioengineering has solved this problem is by splicing in the actual chemical structure into this growing plants. So it's actually built into the plants, and then they can use extra herbicides on the fields so that it wipes out their competition and doesn't kill the plants. Unfortunately, when we eat those foods, there's still residue on top of them and built into them. And when we have breads that are not organic, then you're getting a dose of glyphosate or other insecticide or herbicide or some kind of fungicide. And these chemical residues, when ingested, kill the microbiome, the flora that is sensitive to these same kind of chemicals. And so that starts the process. Now, when we raise beef or chickens in a commercial setting, then the farmers give them antibiotics in order to keep them well because they're in high density. And unfortunately, we receive small doses of antibiotics when we eat meat that is not organically raised. And antibiotics are antibacteria to our friendly flora, which are subject to that kind of medication. And when they take those foods and they make things with them in restaurants and in grocery stores, like even the best fresh breads that they make, if they're not using organic wheat, then they're getting a loaded glyphosate in. They're also putting preservatives in them and emulsifiers. Now, would you think emulsifiers can't be that harmful? But in fact, emulsifiers that make the bread soft and brings, fats and carbohydrates together kill the friendly bacteria. And over time, maybe 2 generations, maybe 3 generations, 40 or 50 years, this change in our diet has resulted in a significant loss of friendly bacteria to the point where the activity of those bacteria are not performing the processes that we have evolved to depend on. And some of those processes that we depend on are one, producing enough mucus to protect our GI tract. Two, to make sure that the GI tract, the epithelial tissue, is strong, healthy, and does not have openings where food particles and other pathogens can actually just leak into our bodies and then circulate and cause an inflammatory response. Other things that the microbiome produce for us are most of the neurotransmitters that affect our brain health. So like serotonin. And when your serotonin drops, your feeling of security, happiness starts to fade. That's how come depression increases. And also the loss of melatonin, which controls your sleep. So then you have a negative feedback loop where you don't feel good, you're not sleeping well, is all loss of the friendly bacteria. We know that dopamine is also another neurotransmitter, and hormones like oxytocin are all produced by the friendly bacteria to improve our brain function. Also, vitamin Bs and other vitamins are essential so that our brain functions well.
Can I add something? So in traditional, herbal theory, I would say in traditional Chinese medicine, we talk about any dysfunction, like in the digestive system, as a spleen qi deficiency. And what's interesting is that it follows similar patterns to what Mike's talking about. If the spleen qi is deficient, people will, or things that lead to spleen qi deficiency include like worrying, stress, eating cold, raw foods, not eating regular meals, overworking. So like when we're out of like a regular eating schedule, when we're too stressed, we're not sleeping good, we're eating a lot of raw, probably kind of fast, things that you don't need to prepare, that are kind of quick to, to consume. Then our spleen qi gets weak. And I was thinking about the antibiotics, and the energy of the antibiotics is also cold in nature. And so you get this cold medicine to kill like a heat pathogen. And so right there, it's a serious, blow to the digestive fire. And I always tell people, don't drink cold water. But if you go and get antibiotics, it's almost similar in that energy, that cold energy that enters the system. So then people who have the spleen qi deficiency can, present with like loose bowels or frequency in bowels, fatigue, their motility of the, it gets affected. Some people aren't able to go as well, or they can go and then they can't go. Their focus gets affected. So it's all like this gut-brain relationship. And, it's in the old terms, it's and eating greasy food. So affects the spleen qi, and and so it's been known for a long time that those are the things that affect. And like maybe in the past it wasn't seen as it's affecting the microbiome, but now science is saying
now we understand.
It's confirmed
that we know. So this brings me to another point about the gut having leaky gut. You may have heard of, or you may not have heard it, but when the gut is designed so as things are digested, they're broken down. And so they go from a protein to amino acids. And finally, when they're small enough, they can be absorbed into the body and then processed for energy consumption. And if the gaps are large enough in the small intestines that entire protein structures sneak into the body, they're simply going to be tagged as a pathogen. Now, a protein structure from a piece of meat is going to be shaped similar to protein in your body, which has evolved to, it's the same kind of protein. So when the immune system recognizes protein shape and then sees it floating around somewhere in your body, then the immune cells are brought to that place, and the immune cells then begin to attack that cell. And unfortunately, many times our own tissue resembles the protein that snuck into your body, and then you have your body attacking itself, and that's called biomimicry. And when we talk about changing your diet or foods that heal, we want to let you know that if you're suffering from inflammation and arthritis, then biomimicry is a part of the problem, and that part of the solution is to stop eating things that resemble our own tissue so that we can eliminate a part of the problem, which is biomimicry. So when we ask people to stop eating meat in order to improve their arthritis, it's not an attack on eating meat. It's a strategy to help people understand the processes that causes inflammation. So if you are a meat eater and we say, well, we recommend not eating meat, this is not a political statement or a philosophy. It's just simply, hey, this is the facts. Proteins sneak into your body that look like your tissue, and your body gets confused and attack it. So, plant proteins don't have that same effect on your body. So during this healing process, we really strongly recommend that you keep that animal protein down to a minimum. And people with Crohn's disease, if they go on a plant-based diet, saw a tremendous improvement in their conditions, and they were allowed to eat a half a serving of meat every 2 weeks, just one half serving every 2 weeks, and that was enough, or a reduction enough so that people did not get flare-ups. Now, if they ate more than that, they saw a return in their conditions, which is an autoimmune conditions. So
and this was a study.
This is a double-blind placebo study. So I don't know the name of the study. I'll present that or bring it up if anybody wants to know it. So we really are suggesting that people keep their animal proteins to a minimum. So now this brings us to a second.
With the surfing Santa.
Today. Today is the day before Christmas. We have a big celebration in Cocoa Beach where people go and dress up like Santa and go surfing. It's really quite warm, and it's a beautiful day, and big crowds are parking in our parking lot and walking across the street to go to the beach. So that we're kind of going to be disturbed. So I want to let you know that that even though it sounds bad, you have arthritis and things are stacked against you, we can help you heal, and we just have to restore the bacteria that are responsible for so many of the biological functions of our bodies. And we want you to know there's really three elements, maybe four elements that we have to employ. One, you have to eliminate the foods that cause the problem, things that hurt the microbiome. Two, you have to restore the microbiome. And we believe that the best way to do that is to start to ferment foods. So in this program in the future, we're going to have a whole host of ferments, suggestions, and how-tos. And we'll be doing everything from the simplest ferments where you just take ginger and sugar and add it to water for 3 days, let it sit on the counter. In 2 or 3 more days, you have a bubbling ferment like ginger ale. And then we're going to move to how you make water kefirs, which has a SCOBY like kombucha, but these SCOBYs are like gummy bear crystals. They're beautiful. And you can just put delicious, put sugar water in there in 3 or 4 days. You start to get a live active bacteria colony, and then you can drink that water. And then what we like to do is we like to add different types of milks. Soy milk is our favorite. We put a little bit of fiber in there. We call it inulin, and then a little sugar in there. And really, in 24 hours, you have a kefir, which may have up to 20 different strains of friendly bacteria. So now you're starting to get the wagon train coming in with all the supplies your gut needs. And after that, then we actually are going to get specific strains of probiotics and start culturing yogurt so that we can create a bacterial library with yogurts that we can eat and yogurts that we can save to make the next bunch, so you don't have to keep spending money on buying the probiotics. Plus, you can get thousands, millions more bacteria into your body when you make your own cultures. So that's what we're going to do.
So we have 10 minutes, Mike. So if anybody has any questions.
I just want to finish up. So the next thing is that you have to get enough fiber into your diet in order to feed the friendly bacteria. And so that comes from whole grains, and beans are the secret ingredients. Fruits and vegetables, Those are what we have to concentrate on. And if you do that, you're going to bring down inflammation. And last of all, we have to recognize that if you have rheumatoid arthritis or any autoimmune disease, you're sick. Just like when you were a kid and you said, Mom, I got a bad cold. She'd say two things: go to bed and I'm going to make you some chicken soup. And so you get two things. You need rest to heal, and then you need foods that are light and easy to digest. So making soups and having a light dinner, easy to digest, healthy for you, increase your fluids, is probably a sensible and effective way to overcome rheumatoid arthritis. And prepare your breakfast, which we recommend is just a steel cut oats with a bunch of berries and some flax seeds, ground up fresh, put into a pressure cooker. Just set it, forget it, eat it in the morning. And what you have just done is set up a system where food now becomes your medicine. Be consistent. Have the oatmeal in the morning, soup at night, and then the rest of this program during the next few weeks will be how to make the most delicious and nutritious lunches. And really, we've cracked this nut. We have solved the problem of how to overcome rheumatoid arthritis with food. And now that's all I have time for. But if you would like to ask me any questions, if we have some questions here.
Cindy's there. And
Can you hear me now?
If your microphone works and
my microphone is on. Did
you have a question, Cindy?
Oh,
we can't really hear anybody. So
Sure.
If you want to type in a question, maybe we can read it on the side.
I don't have a view that I can type.
Okay.
But we can hear you.
Well,
okay.
Yeah,
what food beliefs are the hardest? What ideas do you hold to be true that would be the hardest ones for you to change?
Meat.
Giving up meat? Okay.
Yes.
Have you ever heard that idea about biomimicry?
Well, from you just now. I hadn't heard of it before.
Okay.
Yeah. Cindy, I wanted to share that I hadn't heard about that, and I've had the RA for 25 years. And I went through so many rheumatologists, and I had one rheumatologist actually here in Rockledge who said to me, there was a small study one time, she said, that showed that having a vegan diet resolved rheumatoid arthritis completely. And she told me at the end of our session, and I said, what? And she says, but it was a small study. And she left it at that. But in the meantime, she was giving me injections that were $2,500 a month. Right? I was going in for infusions. And so in my mind, I thought, well, this would really, the $2,500 buying a medicine means that the medicine is really good because it was a high dollar medicine. And so I didn't give it, I didn't give it much consideration at that time. And now I wish I had, because now Michael's taught me about mimicry.
I just have a quick question about, adding more fruits and vegetables. What about tomatoes and bell peppers? I thought they were inflammatory.
Okay, so there's a belief about nightshades causing inflammation, and like eggplants, tomatoes, potatoes, and there are other nightshades like peppers. And this is the way I feel about it. I feel that tomatoes have been proven to have some of the highest lycopene, which is anti-inflammatory. And I think that it's worth having that in your diet. And traditional people have used tomatoes in, in Italy and in Greece, all over the world, really, after tomatoes have been introduced without any problems. I will say this: if you take it out of your diet and you don't have any for a couple of weeks, and then you introduce it in one day, and then the second day, if you notice a flare up, then that's a food that you should probably eliminate. So that's called an elimination diet, and that's one of the best ways to detect whether a food is,
You're sensitive. to
you're
it.
sensitive to it. So then you'd have to be smart about, actually avoiding that food. Now, I believe that eggplants, and this may be a personal bias to eggplants, is probably not worth it, because I don't think it has the high nutrient value that tomatoes have.
Doesn't it have fiber though?
It has fiber, but there's a lot of other foods that are higher in fibers. I'm going to reemphasize that everybody thinks that blueberries are like a superfood, and they are. But did you know that black beans are higher in nutrients than blueberries? And the last point is,
But we all like blueberries.
yes, the last point is that without the friendly bacteria in your gut, the ability to break down and to absorb these nutrients that everybody needs is greatly diminished, maybe even by 80%. So if you want the antioxidants in all these foods to get into your body to do some good, you got to restore the friendly bacteria.
Right. And one thing I have noticed, I think within our own family, is that as our microbiome has improved, our sensitivities have also
Decreased.
And as far as nightshades, maybe you're more sensitive to peppers than other peppers. I've actually noticed, I tell Michael, I can't eat, like the green peppers seem to really aggravate me. I'm very sensitive, even at the tongue, right, putting it in my mouth. I'm like, it's very alarming. Like the sensation is so much more than like a red pepper. And so I'm like, well, that's interesting, because I grew up with peppers. My parents always ate peppers because we're Mexican. So and I think I was being forced to eat green jalapenos, and I couldn't handle it. And I still can't handle it, but I can handle a red one. So I think there's a spectrum of sensitivity, and you can tell, Cindy, I think, as you kind of, eliminate and then reintroduce. So
It's not a bad idea to eliminate those foods and then slowly introduce them and see how you feel.
yeah, and
That's this, I
Thank
think,
you.
right answer. Yeah.
and sometimes we have to live without them. Maybe.
Felicia, do you
No,
have
I love tomatoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
you probably don't have a problem with tomatoes.
Yeah. So
You all hear me now?
Yeah. Welcome.
yay.
I don't know.
A Christmas miracle.
Wow. That's news to me about the black beans. I love black beans. I eat blueberries. I love blueberries. So I'm glad to know about the black beans are just as nutritious or more.
More. Yep.
More.
Top of the food chain.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
So I want to leave you with one takeaway. So if we can make a small change this week, and my recommendation is, let's see if we can have oatmeal 5 days a week this week. And I'll recommend using steel cut oats, putting them into your Instapot, taking 2 tablespoons of flax seeds and grinding them fresh, and then putting them into the Instapot, and taking some organic frozen blueberries and strawberries or banana or pear or peach or apple, chopping it up and putting it in there. So lots of fruit. And then you can put a little cinnamon, maybe a little salt to soften the grain, and then cook it overnight. It'll be ready for you in the morning, and you'll be getting a super high dose of a very easily digestible whole grains. And if we could do that, every week for a month, then I think you'd be amazed at how much better you feel. And then next week we'll add soups, and that will really be running towards feeling better.
Yeah, and you can use a slow cooker or the I guess the Instapot on slow cook.
Yeah,
it's easy. I love oatmeal that way.
It'll cook for 20 minutes, and then it'll go on the hold, and it'll keep it warm all night. So it's like a slow cook.
So if you want to do one extra step, Felicia and Cindy, you can soak. Do you want them to soak it, Mike, and then wash it, or is that too much?
Not with the steel cut oats,
Okay.
but any other grains that would be fine.
Yeah. All right.
Cooking it overnight will be the same as soaking.
All right.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate not being, we could have been left alone, and we've been just talking away and not feeling like anybody loves us, but y'all love us, and we love y'all, and thank you so much.
We do.
Thank you.
right.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas. All right. We'll see you at the next one. All right. Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.